views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when...
We've been here and lots of our people here for the rally have been offering to discuss with them, and they've just been yelling in our faces.
Across America, we the people know something is wrong, and we yearn for better. We long for fairness, justice, and rights. For 15 years, Students for Life of America has been mobilizing this pro-life generation to do just that, take action for the most vulnerable. We've launched and now support 1,300 student groups on middle school, high school, and college campuses throughout the nation to build the pro-life leaders who are changing our culture on their campuses, in churches, and for communities. But we yearn for more, and we know we were made for it. The time has come to eliminate abortion from America's legacy. It's time to unify, innovate, and create lasting change. The time has come for abortion-free cities. We're going door to door, computer to phone, and church by church to transform our communities. We walk with her from a place of powerlessness to empowerment, to choose life or find forgiveness, to take him from fear to fatherhood, and to rescue her from death to life. We, the people, are on the front lines battling for genuine fairness, justice, and rights. But this isn't a battle we can fight on our own. We need you. Will you join us to make your city abortion-free?
This is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Welcome to my show. Today's my special guest is Mary Carmen, what's the last name?
Zakrajsek.
Zakrajsek. I'll call you Mary.
Alrighty.
Okay. So, in the beginning, what is Students for Life and its mission?
Yes. So Students for Life of America, we are the largest, most active youth pro-life organization in the country. So our mission is very specific and it's very simple. We exist to recruit, train, and mobilize the pro-life generation to abolish abortion in our lifetime. So we recognize that abortion is violent, that it is the leading cause of death in America, and it is the issue of our time. And so if we really want to end abortion, we have to change the hearts and minds of young people. We have to invest.
Education, right?
Absolutely, right. Because young people, they drive culture. And culture drives the decisions made in Washington, D.C. and state houses all over the country. And so we have to invest in our students, not only because they are the future, but they're the target of the abortion industry. The majority of abortions are committed on women aged 18 to 24. And so they're targeting our peers, our daughters, our sisters, and we need to be the voice of truth and reason and compassion for these young women.
It's sad, isn't it, that we have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
We need to educate because it's the culture of death right now out
Right.
there.
Right.
And we're a beam of light because Jesus is on our side, for one.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason.
Mm-hmm.
And two, we're becoming more enlightened. I found that out with most of the younger generation. They're becoming more enlightened throughout the United States, and we're starting to realize what abortion really is, not the lies that Planned Parenthood had talked about.
Right. And I think we're seeing that in our country. I think America is starting to wake up. This year alone, in 2021, is the year where the most restrictions on abortion have been introduced into state legislation, and the most have been passed, more than any other year in history. So I think right now we have, and just last night, Mason, Ohio, a small city in Ohio, was made a sanctuary city for the preborn. So that city last night effectively outlawed any abortions from taking place in their city, any abortion provider from coming into their city. So that makes, I think, around 107 restrictions on abortion that have been passed so far across states in our country.
107
107 so far have been passed.
cities, or just
Not cities, 107 pieces of law, just legislation that would put restrictions on abortion.
and Planned Parenthood is fighting this all the way, aren't they?
Oh, yes, yes. And this is when our opponents, I think Planned Parenthood senses that they're losing. They know that the possibility of Roe v. Wade being overturned or severely weakened is coming. It's at the forefront. And so they're scared. And that's really when our opponent is the most dangerous, is when they fear that they're losing, because now they have nothing to lose. They're willing to lie. They're willing to cheat. They're willing to spread, false information and do anything they can to protect abortion. Planned Parenthood has never really been about women's health. It has always been about abortion and abortion access. And so that's scary. That's disheartening that these young women, these vulnerable women, are really being coerced and pressured and persuaded into abortion, because that's how Planned Parenthood makes their money, right? They make their money by selling abortion, and they have abortion quotas that they have to meet every single month. Every month they have to sell a certain amount of abortions, and they award Planned Parenthood directors and employees that supersede that quota and that sell more abortions. So it's always been about abortion. It's never been about women's health.
Well, in the beginning, Planned Parenthood was different, and then it was changed to complete abortion. Well, not 100%, but 99%, as far as I know. And they're after our preborn and our newborn, after they are born, when someone tried to abort that baby, the child comes out alive. What happens to the child?
It's sickening. It's awful. Abortionists have, when the baby has been born alive, there have been abortionists who have been found guilty of killing those babies alive. So in the movie Gosnell, I don't know if you heard about, Kermit Gosnell, right? The famous abortionist who would actually slit the babies' necks when they were born alive, and he would suffocate them. It would take sometimes up to an hour because the babies are so large, just for this process to be complete.
Yeah, that is sick. That is horrible, and that reminds me of Nazism, experimenting on babies.
Yep. This is the silent genocide of our time. Every day, over 2,300 babies that we know of are aborted in the United States. There are some states that aren't even required to report the number of their abortions. And so on record, we know of at least 2,300 babies that are being aborted every day. And that's just in our country.
What happened to Indiana? They're still doing it throughout the
so Indiana
counties.
We have like the freestanding abortion facilities. So Planned Parenthood or Whole Woman's Health, they are able to commit abortions up to 13 weeks and 6 days. And then other abortions that are committed up to, I think, around 24 weeks are committed in surgical facilities or hospitals.
Surgical. How about chemical? Is that
chemical abortions? So the woman will take, supposedly the woman takes the first pill at the actual abortion facility. Now we're seeing that the FDA is basically removing all restrictions on chemical abortion. And so women can now they can order chemical abortion pills through the mail, through telemedicine, without having to see an in-person physician. So if you can imagine the danger of this, women who might not even be pregnant, right? Or maybe women who have an ectopic pregnancy can now get a hand on these drugs that can cause severe hemorrhaging, infection, infertility, death. Chemical abortion is really the new face of the abortion industry, because they're preparing for when Roe v. Wade is overturned, when there are no longer abortion facilities that can operate, freestanding abortion facilities. Well, now Planned Parenthood, or just the abortion agenda at large, can just ship and sell these pills to any home, right? And women can stock up on these pills. It's all very terrifying.
You get it from pharmacists?
Yeah.
And the pharmacists are allowing these chemical, dangerous drugs to kill women's babies. They're selling them. What the hey? I'm mad about that, you know?
Yep. And we're seeing this, I mean, even on college campuses in the state of California. They have in some of their colleges, this was trying to be passed for years, and wanting to have this deadly drug in the health center on campus, RE486. So now women can be self-aborting. They're called self-induced abortions, or at home, or do-it-yourself abortions, not in the presence of a medical personnel. So women don't even know how much bleeding is too much. They don't know the signs of hemorrhaging to death. And so it's the chemical abortive drug is 4 times more deadly than any other of the other abortion procedures for the woman, right? It's 100% deadly for the baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
And I'm surprised that the United States allowed this with the Roe versus Wade many moons ago. I'm surprised that they had done some. We're supposed to be civilized and caring and compassionate.
Exactly.
Oh, it's completely opposite, like baby sacrificing, like in the old days of Bell and all that. Bale.
Yeah. In the United States, this is what's really shocking. The US and Canada have the world's most extreme abortion laws. Right. So next to the US and Canada, the only other countries in the world that have such extreme abortion laws as the United States is China, North Korea, and Vietnam. So those 3 countries, along with the United States and Canada, are the only countries in the world that allow abortion up to the moment of birth. Up to the moment of birth, a woman can get an abortion in the United States. Most of Europe restricts abortion after the first trimester. They don't allow second or third trimester abortions, and yet we allow Ireland.
They just forced themselves onto the beautiful aisle, green aisle abortion within the last several years.
Yeah, it was really sad what we saw in Ireland. We know there is a pro-life movement in Ireland. They're strong, they're fighting. But governments look to the United States and they see our abortion laws as so expansive. Yeah. And that sends a signal and a symbol to them that, we should expand our abortion laws too.
If they can do it, we can do it. That type of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes you sad. Real sad. Who formed Students for Life of America?
Yeah, so we originally started as college students back in the 1980s. It was a network of college students all over the country. And it was created by and for college students to, again, really empower other students to be pro-life vessels on their college campuses. And then in the mid 2000s, rebranded, and our president, Kristen Hawkins.
Kristen.
She's wonderful. She really took Students for Life and ran with it and dramatically increased our presence on high schools and college campuses. We have groups in middle schools now and law schools.
Middle schools.
Yeah. So I first really found out about abortion in middle school. I was a seventh grade student.
Right.
Yeah. And a woman at my church, she presented to the 7th and 8th grade students about how life begins at conception and the whole process of fetal development. And then she introduced the topic of abortion. And I had always kind of knew of abortion. I really considered it, taboo. I just kind of knew it was wrong, but I had no idea. I had no idea.
You.
Yeah, it educated me. And I remember thinking that exact same thing. How could a civilized country like the United States allow such a barbaric act of violence on innocent, vulnerable groups of people?
What's up, Students for Life? My name is Mary Carmen. I am the Indiana Regional Coordinator for Students for Life of America. I'm here today at the University of Notre Dame. We have our See Me Now tour with Notre Dame Right to Life. Say hi, guys. These are some of our officers, and we've already had one mind change about abortion. We're so excited to have conversations, to activate people to the pro-life movement, to keep up to date with what we're doing today.
This is so cool.
Hi, I'm Anastasia Retrozak. I'm here with Right to Life Notre Dame. I'm the commissioner for the Possible Divine Mercy, which is an awesome pro-life organization in South Bend. And here at the table today, we have lots of amazing pregnancy resources for pregnant and parenting women here on campus.
Hi guys, I'm Claire and I'm a member of the Notre Dame Right to Life Club.
And we had 4 minds change on abortion just in the last hour. So, woohoo, good work.
Hey guys, it's Merlot. I'm the social media coordinator with Notre Dame Right to Life, and we just had 87 conversations with students here.
And 24 activations to the pro-life movement.
And 6 minds changed.
You should bring this to your university.
Woohoo! All right, we just finished at Notre Dame. We had a lot of conversations. A lot of men were asking about cases of sexual assault. Should abortion be permissible then? And we were able to just shed truth and compassion, and that every woman and every life, no matter how it was conceived or brought into this world, deserves protection.
Well, the way this country is going, there's guns, there's explosions, there's gangs, there's this. What's happening to our poor country?
Well, when you can't recognize life, the dignity or even the value of human life in its most vulnerable and helpless state, if you can't look at a human child and say that life is worth protecting, let it be no surprise that your country is going to bleed from the inside out, that you're going to have all of these mass inhumane acts against the human person because you can't even recognize life in its most basic vulnerable form. I always say that abortion, it really is the issue. If you get abortion wrong, if you can't understand that killing an innocent human child is wrong, then I can't trust you with any of the other big political issues. I can't trust you if you don't think that killing innocent children is horrifying. So,
and a lot of people, are they starting to turn towards God now? They weren't for a while, since the 60s and 50s or something.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to go back to church. Do you find that?
Do I see that? I think there's a deep hunger. I think there's a deep longing among students. They know that their current lifestyle isn't fulfilling. Everything that they try to fill this void with, whether it be partying or drinking or premarital sex or whatever it is, they're not finding fulfillment. And so I think our generation is becoming more lonely and more depressed. The rates of anxiety have just dramatically skyrocketed amongst us. And I think social media has really exacerbated that too.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's a hunger and a longing, and they just don't know that it's God that is, the creator of their heart.
Used to be hippies.
What'd you say?
Parents of the children now used to be hippies in the 60s. And
Yeah,
whatever.
the free love revolution or sexual revolution. I mean,
And so they couldn't teach their
I
own
think, and I think too, what I'm seeing is really just the absence of a moral compass, the increase of moral relativism on college campuses, where to them they see abortion as just a preference issue. Yeah, you can like abortion or you can't like abortion. It's whatever you want to do. I don't personally, or I feel this way, but you can believe what you want to believe. It's this idea of relativism, and we would never be relative about other violent issues that attack the human person. We would never have a pro-choice stance about sexual assault or rape. Rape is always wrong 100% of the time. We would never have a pro-choice or relativistic stance on child abuse or slavery or any other human injustice that violates the person. It's not something that can just be you like it or you dislike it. Either it's always wrong or it's always right. So that's really the challenge at college campuses, is speaking with people who don't even have any foundation for morality to go off of.
Yeah, we kind of damaged ourselves, didn't we, in the 60s? And I noticed that people are worshiping more about animals instead of helping each other out, being more compassionate towards human beings.
Right. And so that's why, we really need to invest in our culture and our younger generation to change the culture. And there is so much hope that I'm seeing, especially in Indiana. So a lot of what I do is I visit high schools and colleges, and I give talks and trainings and presentations about abortion. I help empower pro-life student groups to then educate their campus. I bring, big pro-life displays, and for hours on end every day, I'm at a campus speaking with students about abortion. And I do think that there's a pro-life silent majority. Just yesterday, I was in Valparaiso University, and the students who were leading the pro-life club looked at me at the end and said, I am so shocked at how many people signed up for our club. I had no idea that there were this many pro-life students. And it's because we're bullied into silence, on social media, in the classroom, with our friends. We're made to think that, well, if you're a woman, you have to be for abortion. Abortion is a woman's right. Abortion is empowerment. And so students are afraid to really express their pro-life beliefs. And so I just think being vocal about it and being public about it is going to encourage more students to be vocal and public as well and join the movement.
I don't understand the logic of some people who start to experiment with the babies, dead or alive. Why?
Right. There's no gain. There's no medical progress to get. Embryonic stem cell research is futile. There's no benefit to any embryonic stem cell research that has been done. Not to mention what we're seeing with the University of Pittsburgh, where they were experimenting. They were taking scalps of aborted babies, and they were experimenting with them on mice. What kind of sickness are we in where we're experimenting, like you said, with aborted babies?
People who do abortion, they think, oh, well, this is the right thing to do for the girl, when she gets pregnant, get rid of it, just say it's a blob of flesh and not really a baby.
Right. It's intellectually dishonest. To look in one room. This is why the majority of OBGYNs, they don't perform abortions. They refuse to, because if you're looking in one room and you're congratulating a woman who's now pregnant and you're trying to prolong the life of her child, right? You recognize that it's a human life worthy of protecting and saving. But then in the next room, you do an abortion and you just consider that life not valuable or not worth protecting. It's intellectually dishonest and inconsistent.
Confusing.
You know, and so it's really up to us to be that voice, and that's really what we've done. I mean, this year, Students for Life has launched a never before seen strategic initiative. It's called the Campaign for Abortion-Free Cities.
Ah.
We've recognized that abortion is violence, and in the same way that we want our cities drug-free, crime-free, violent-free, we want our cities abortion-free.
Yeah.
We want our cities rid of the abortion violence that preys off of young, vulnerable women and kills their children. And I think, you know, oftentimes there was a study that we did that looks at the mushy middle of America. So people who aren't really pro-life or aren't really pro-choice, or maybe kind of pro-choice, but they're easily persuadable. There's this perception that pro-life advocates don't know how to empathize with a woman who's wanting an abortion. You know, they see abortion as really the compassionate solution to an unwanted pregnancy. And so we are totally changing that perception and that stigma.
Blind.
Yeah, and we're going door to door in 20 cities across the country, advocating and connecting our neighbors with free pregnancy resource information. You know, we are knocking on the doors, hundreds and hundreds of doors, thousands of doors, and we are saying, you know, pregnant women deserve support, and there is support here in this community. We have a pamphlet that has all the free services that pregnancy resource centers provide for women, free of cost for women and their children up to 2 years after the child is born. You know, none of that Planned Parenthood provides.
No.
So we really are empathizing with the woman and standing alongside of her with our Standing With You initiative, because we know that an unexpected pregnancy is challenging and difficult, you know. And so we want to connect women, because every woman that has an abortion, you know, over 2,300 abortions, that means that's over 2,300 women that were not connected to life-affirming resources. And so how can we create this awareness of thousands of pregnancy resource centers and maternity homes and federally qualified healthcare centers that exist, so that a woman doesn't feel like abortion is her only option? And
how do you approach the students?
How do we approach the students?
As a group, as your Students for Life of America group, you have to get permission from the college or university to enter there?
Oh yeah, so it's think of it as a student club, a student organization, right? Mm-hmm. Any student has the ability to start their own group on a campus. And so they can start a pro-life group, a Students for Life group. And so they would go to their, you know, administration or their student government, and they would apply to be officially recognized as a group. They would get a faculty or a staff sponsor. And then we would work with them one-on-one, and we would help them with a mission statement, with a vision. Okay, what do you desire from your pro-life group? How do you want to change your campus or influence your campus to be educated about abortion? We put together events and really encourage and give them all the resources and tools they need to be empowered pro-life individuals on their high school and college campuses.
You find censorship wherever you go?
Yeah, so censorship and discrimination is really the tools that schools use to silence or lessen our influence. And so we see, you know, students who apply to have a club at their school, mm-hmm. and their principal denies them because he thinks that their club is too controversial, right? Or too political, which is completely illegal. Students are protected, clubs are protected to have all the same access and
free speech.
All the same, yeah, exactly. It has to be applied equally to all clubs. You can't discriminate based on the content of one's speech. So,
well, How can we, how many colleges and universities have you gone into to spread the word about life, pro-life?
Yeah, me individually in Indiana, I
Yeah.
have 52 student pro-life groups that I work with. So about half of those are colleges. So I mean, just this year, I started visiting colleges in August. So I've been to University of Evansville, University of Southern Indiana. I've been to Notre Dame. I've been to St. Mary's, Holy Cross College, Bethel University, Indiana University, Purdue University, Marian University, IUPUI,
My
IUPUI's
goodness.
Law School, Indiana State University. I mean, I could go on, Fort Wayne. So I've been to a lot. We have over 1,300 student groups across the country.
Have you
that we
hit
work
Fort
with.
Wayne, Indiana?
Yes. Yep. I've been to the University of St. Francis. I did a talk there about chemical abortion, and I brought our big pro-life display there a couple weeks ago. Changed a couple people's minds about abortion.
That's good.
Yeah.
Even people in church get pregnant
Exactly.
by accident or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
by rape or whatever. How can pastors and priests reach out to the student or parishioner?
So that's really what this campaign for abortion-free cities was designed to do. It was designed to be a grassroots efforts where we can engage our churches on the life issue, because as you said, abortion doesn't exist outside of the church. There was a study done by Focus on the Family where they said 4 out of 10 women who are getting abortions reported that they had attended a church service in the same month as their abortion appointment. And so it's really important that churches do 3 things. Churches need to first increase awareness of life-affirming alternatives. There needs to be pregnancy resource information that is clearly stocked, visible, and accessible in the narthex of a church, in the entrance to a church. There needs to be something there, like whether it's a big sign that says pregnant, need help, whether there's, diaper drives around the church, there needs to be something there so that when a woman walks out or walks into the entrance and she's abortion vulnerable, there's something that's going to reach her that she can see, that she can look at, maybe in the bulletin or the church announcements, that is reaching her as a young pregnant woman. So that's the first thing our churches need to do better at, is increasing the awareness of these pregnancy resource information and pregnancy help organizations, so that a woman doesn't feel pressured or driven to get an abortion. The second thing is we really need to decrease support and trust of the abortion industry. We really need to decrease support and trust of Planned Parenthood. And so that means talking about abortion at and inside of the church during a sermon or a homily. And the third thing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Third thing.
I was going to say the third thing is really activating existing pro-lifers in the church to change hearts and minds in the community. So, it's great that we're pro-life, right, that we're believers, but it really doesn't mean anything if we're not challenging or inspiring those around us to think more deeply about the abortion issue, to be pro-life themselves. And so that's where getting involved in the community level, whether that's praying or sidewalk counseling outside of the abortion facility, or door knocking in your area, hosting a life chain, just standing along a street with signs about abortion, and with pregnancy resource information advertised as well. This needs to be a grassroots effort, because it's really on us. This is our duty as Christians to defend the vulnerable, to defend life. So, and I always recommend pastors. I understand the fear.
Yeah, the pastor, how do you approach them to get over their fear of making the congregation not feel good or something like that, especially when
Right.
you bring up the word abortion.
Right. So this is what I say is us not talking about abortion, a pastor not talking about abortion in his sermon or homily because he's afraid of how his congregation will feel or react. That is actually preventing women from getting the guidance and the healing they need on this issue. Our pastors are our spiritual guidance. They help form our moral compass. And so if you are purposely not speaking about a topic that is the topic, right? That is the ultimate attack on motherhood and fatherhood and family and the sanctity of human life. You not talking about it is actually preventing a woman from seeking the guidance that she needs to change life. You know, and so I always say that to them as a way to motivate and encourage them to bring this up. And we bring this up not because of judgment, not to shame women or make women feel guilty. We bring this up out of love for our daughters, our sisters, you know, that have had abortions and are experiencing regret and depression and shame. And so when we bring up the topic of abortion, we always want to say that, you know, all life is valuable and we want to do everything we can to protect human life. And so women, you know, some of us have had abortions. That does not mean we are outside of God's reach for us, right? That means that God wants to encounter us more in a more deep and radical way to start us on that path of healing. And so if we're going to bring up abortion in our churches, then we absolutely need to bring up post-abortive healing.
Yes.
And we absolutely need to bring up pregnancy support and pregnancy resources. You know, if we're going to tell women that you can't have an abortion because, you know, abortion kills a human life, because abortion harms women physically, emotionally, then we have to. I'm sorry.
You say don't do this, don't do that. People do the opposite.
And we have to, so we have to offer them something else, right? If we're going to say abortion is going to harm you, and here's why, then what are we going to offer you in return? And that's where the pregnancy resource centers all over our communities really come in with all the great services they provide.
We have a Hope Center here, several different branches, a Hope Center. And they, what you're describing, to help the community, the young ladies who are aborting their own babies. Babies aborting babies. That's how I see it, children aborting babies. And they're there to help diapers and advice, especially for husband and wife, or man and girl, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Right. And the Women's Care Center, too.
And the Women's Care Center.
Is phenomenal.
Yes. We're here. I'm with Lutherans for Life. We work alongside Right to Life of Northeast Indiana. I'm with Kathy Hamburger and all.
Yes, Kathy.
Kathy. Well, you know, we work alongside her. I'm the media advisor for Lutherans for Life here in Fort Wayne chapter. So, I got a good question for you, girl. The Supreme Court with the case of Dobbs versus Jackson. What is going on?
Yeah, so this is the first time the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case about abortion pre-viability. So if we think back to Roe v. Wade federally legalized abortion up to the moment of viability. And then its sister case, Doe v. Bolton, allowed abortion up to 9 months for the health of the mother, which is a very vague legal term that can really mean anything, right? Familial health, which I still don't know what that means. Mental health, you know, emotional health. Roe v. Wade, though, legalized it up to the point of viability. And so anytime there has been an abortion law that has restricted abortion before 22 to 24 weeks, there's immediately it is sued by, NARAL, Planned Parenthood, an abortion facility. It goes up to the Supreme Court, an injunction is filed, but they never take the case. They never hear the case. And so the law is never enforced. This time in the state of Mississippi, they looked at second trimester abortions, the dismemberment abortions, where the baby is so large, their bones are so calcified that you have to actually use SOFR clamps, heavy metal forceps, and you have to grab, twist, and pull the extremities of the child.
And the baby feels it.
The baby feels it, exactly.
Thing. Oh, yeah.
Right. And so they looked at this and they said, no, this is violent. We can't allow human dismemberment in our state. And so they banned abortion at 15 weeks. This has gone all the way up to the Supreme Court. And oral arguments will be heard December 1st of this year. And this is a really, really, really important case because with this case alone, they could choose, if they side with the state of Mississippi and say, you are justified in this ban,
yes,
that's going to send, that's either going to overturn Roe v. Wade or severely weaken it.
I hope
and send a symbol, right? It's going to send a national symbol to all other 49 states that you are allowed to restrict abortion at 15 weeks.
Yay, more power to us, girlfriend.
Woo, yep. So we're really excited, and we are doing a big bus tour from Mississippi all the way up to Washington, D.C. with students. We'll have a large ultrasound van going all over the country. We will be busing students to be ready to rejoice on the steps of the Supreme Court.
Now, this is going to be all over the news.
Oh, yeah.
The nation and the world.
Oh, yeah. All eyes will be on us.
I see opponents coming at you.
Right. Yeah, they are. I mean, that's why they have been working tirelessly more than ever this year. On October 2nd, they had over 600 women's marches across the country, but it wasn't a women's march, they didn't include pro-life women. They effectively excluded pro-life women and preborn women. They made it very clear that they were marching for abortion. And so instead of being called the Women's March, they rebranded and they were called the Rally for Abortion Justice. And so they were getting everybody on board to march for abortion because they're scared. They know that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. So they, like I said, I mean, they have nothing to lose. And so they're willing to do anything. They're willing to censor us. We see that on Google in September. Google banned all videos about the abortion pill reversal process. They banned Live Action's video of baby Olivia that is simply talking, didn't even mention the word abortion. Live Action's video was all about the development of a human being from conception to birth. It was completely factual, discussing the characteristics of what we look like and what we're starting to do and be capable of at different gestational ages. And they banned it from Google for misleading information. And so they're starting to censor us. They don't want the word to get out that you can reverse the abortion pill.
They want to be kept in the dark and not anyone else see the light.
Right.
The truth.
Right.
What do you see as the future of Students for Life of America, my dear?
The future of our organization, we know, I mean, we've been preparing for the future ever since we started. We've been preparing for a post-Roe America. And so to do this, we've really created a whole ecosystem of support for pregnant women. So we're going to continue promoting life-affirming alternatives. We know that even if abortion is made illegal, that's not our end goal. Our end goal is to make abortion unthinkable, especially with the rise of these chemical abortive drugs. It's easier more than ever to get your hands on an abortion drug. And so we want to continue working on our college and high school campuses to educate about why abortion must remain illegal, why abortion is always wrong and always harmful to women. We want to build up our pregnancy resource centers, and want to make sure that we are holding our politicians accountable, our justices accountable. So the future is really what we're continuing to do, is to just speak truth and advocate and support life-affirming alternatives for women in need.
You're going door to door. You're planning on when would this be?
Yeah, so we've officially launched this campaign in September, although we've been doing some test trials as early as March of this year. And so we door knock once a month.
How do you approach the people in the homes?
Yeah, so we have a script that we follow. And essentially this is how it happens. I walk up to a door and I knock, and somebody answers, and I say, "Hi, my name is Mary Carmen. I'm a volunteer with a nonprofit organization, and we are just passing out free pregnancy resource information, making sure that our neighbors are aware of the local community support." And so they'll, nod their head, and I'll ask them, "Were you aware, out of curiosity, of your local pregnancy resource center?" And they'll say, "Oh, yes," or "No," or "Oh, yeah, Planned Parenthood. Isn't that my local pregnancy resource center?" And I'll say, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people think of Planned Parenthood when they think of an unexpected pregnancy, but the Planned Parenthood nearest you, so in Indiana and Indianapolis, that would be the Planned Parenthood off of 86 in Georgetown. The Planned Parenthood off of 86 was found guilty of not properly sanitizing their equipment between women, not keeping informed patient consent records, not having their staff properly CPR certified. And so we really want to redirect women to better places that will also provide care for their child. And then I'll ask a question like, do you think abortion is appropriate or acceptable as an option for pregnant women? And based on their response, is really the dialoguing principles, where I'll ask, why do you think abortion is should be an option? Or if they say they don't, I say that, that's great. We're pro-life too, and we'd love to give you a yard sign or a magnet. We'd love to help you get connected in your area to continue spreading the pro-life message. But the goal so much when we door knock is really to just create awareness of life-affirming alternatives. It's to get people thinking of somewhere else to go other than Planned Parenthood.
Do you have props to show the parents of the household?
We have, I just have a brochure, a flyer that I pass out, and it has the link and a phone number to their geo-targeted area that any woman can call, any person can call, that would get them connected to a local pregnancy resource center. And on this flyer, it includes a chart of all the services that they provide for free versus all the services that Planned Parenthood provides for free. And you'll see that Planned Parenthood has an X under all the services because they don't provide any of them for free, or they don't provide them at all. So we just passed out a brochure, and we've had phenomenal stories and successes from this campaign. So we've actually encountered people who, 20 minutes previously, this young girl had found out she was pregnant, and she was crying, and she answered the door. And one of our students asked her if she was all right. And she just on the spot opened up about how she found out she was pregnant. And there we were with pregnancy resource information, able to encounter her. So stories like that, or stories where, I come in contact with somebody who said that their friend just found out she was pregnant, and is really unsure of what to do. And now after talking with them, they're going to give their friend the information. Or, we came across a principal for a charter school in Indianapolis who was really amazed and eye-opened about what we were doing and the information we had. And she said she was going to talk to their community organizer to put those brochures and the health department on campus. Yes. So anything we can do to really share this information.
Break through this darkness.
Right.
I always thought we are supposed to obey the law, right?
You always thought what?
Obey the law. Thou shalt not murder.
Mm-hmm.
But they say, oh, we'll go after the people who are thugs and gangs and all that. But they don't go after the abortionist who's killing, murdering our unborn newborn. There's got to be that one law for everyone, not just for the chosen few.
Exactly. We need to be consistent. You know, if we're going to say that you can't kill another human being, you can't violate another human being, regardless of if it's for your gain or pleasure or convenience or heat of the moment, whatever it may be. Why are we not applying that to other living human beings in the world?
Yeah, we have Planned Parenthood here, a big one, joined up with some other states here in Fort Wayne. I mean, it's a big one. And they're speaking about training some people for chemical as well as surgical. I think more chemical now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for them, chemical abortion is really the solution to the barriers they're facing. For one, I mean, if you remember back in 2015, when Planned Parenthood was found selling baby parts, aborted baby parts, the Center for Medical Progress, David Daleiden, said that on video, he caught them saying that if people ever found out about their secret, they would be done for. And their secret was that they didn't know what to do with all of the bodies. They didn't know how to dispose of all of the aborted babies that they were killing every single day. And so the chemical abortion drug, allows them to wipe their hands clean. They don't have to pay for disposal of the body parts. They don't have to worry about performing abortions inside a facility. Now a woman can go home with a chemical abortive drug and she can abort in her bathroom.
She'll bear the burden.
She will bear the burden. It's just absolutely shocking what we're seeing, and women are now responsible. They're seeing their dead baby in their toilet or in their shower.
And they realize I did a bad thing.
And they were not told. They weren't told the effects of an abortion, And Planned Parenthood tells women that their chemical abortion is going to be nothing more than a regular period, maybe some light cramping, and an emptying of their uterine content.
Right.
That's how they phrase it. That's how they euphemize it, an emptying of your uterine content. And women are traumatized when they look in their toilet after a series of hours of extreme cramping and contractions, and they see an arm and a leg and a fully formed body. The deep psychological trauma and wound that abortion inflicts on women is not being talked about. Women are not being informed. They're being lied to.
Lied to, indeed. They are. I mean, Satan. And we need to be more aware of what universities are doing in their experimental labs with our babies, aborted babies. That has to be stopped. Pharmacy who uses the babies for experimentation or drugs or whatever, that has to be stopped.
Yeah.
It makes me cry, My late aunt on my mom's side was an abortionist in the 50s and 60s in Toronto. Wow. That's why I'm so gung-ho against what she had done over 40 years. She died in the 70s. Made me tired of that. That's why I'm so gung-ho against baby killing. I mean, this is supposed to be a civilized world. Let's start caring. Let's get away from technology, all this games and all that sort. We need to go back to being human beings and compassionate towards each other. No more wars or anything like that. It's just a death culture. We got to break our way out of this. Look at that.
Right.
But we have to break our way out of this through love,
Right.
understanding God, Jesus. Well, what would you like to say finally to my audience to share?
Yeah, I would. I just want to ask you to please continue to pray for all the efforts of the pro-life movement. To pray for Students for Life, for everything that we're doing. We are completely reliant on the generosity of our donors.
Yes,
so anybody who wants to join in our mission and maybe can't get out on the sidewalks to pray or to door knock with us, or isn't able to lead a student club, I'd really encourage them to consider contributing to the mission of Students for Life of America. And if you live in Indiana, you can go to studentsforlife.org/Indiana, and you can support all the pro-life efforts in our state through our schools. If you are interested in participating in the campaign for abortion-free cities, you can go to abortionfreecities.org, learn more about it. If you'd like to volunteer with us in Indianapolis, you can go to abortionfreecities.org/Indianapolis or /volunteer, excuse me. So there are countless ways to get involved and to convert these strong feelings into action, especially all students that are watching this, or if parents, if you're watching this and you have a student who would like to start a pro-life group, this truly is the most important work we can be doing on earth. Education, right? Saving lives. One conversation that your student has with another about abortion, or a school meeting, a club meeting that your student puts on about abortion, literally has the power to save lives, to save a young girl at their high school, middle school, or college from having an abortion at her abortion appointment that week. So the influence that we have at schools is just enormous. So going to studentsforlife.org and getting in contact to start a pro-life group is the best thing we could do.
Be peaceful, compassionate, and loving, and keep the faith.
Yep.
Okay. Good day, Mary Carmen.
Thank you, Patty.
So you did wonderful. Thank you so much. I should have you on again.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time for you interviewing me, and it's great. Anything I can do to spread the message for life. So I really appreciate it.
God bless you, girl.
God bless you.
Thank you, audience, for tuning in. This was a beautiful interview I did with Mary Carmen. So we'll see you next week, and God bless. And don't be afraid. We are here.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed, my love. God is with us always, for the rest of our lives.